Hi everyone, my name is Katherine, and in this video we will demonstrate how hotkeys can be capitalized to unify command selection mechanisms on both phones and tablets. First of all, command selection mechanisms vary from one operating system to another. For instance, imagine you are browsing on an iPhone and you want to find a particular word. Do you know how to do so? First, we have to tap on the share icon and then slide up to reveal more items before finally tapping on the find command. Well, how about on Android? Instead of the share icon, we have to tap on this kebab menu icon and then tap on the find command. So there are two main problems we want to highlight. First is how slow and difficult command selections are on our mobile devices. A frequent task like finding words should not be this tedious and slow. Another example is the undo command. Most iPhone users do not know they can undo by shaking the phone, unless they Google it out or trigger it by accident. The bigger problem we have to acknowledge is that there is a lack of consistency across applications and OS. For the same find and undo command, users have to look for different menu icons or invoke the shaking gesture. This is a problem because, especially in today's context where we often interact with multiple devices, inconsistent mechanisms force users to constantly adjust their techniques as they switch between devices. Hotkeys, on the other hand, are well established and unified. So this got us thinking. What if we could leverage our prior knowledge of hotkeys from physical keyboards and transfer it to multi-touch keyboards? We call this approach Softcuts, which is an abbreviation for soft keyboard shortcuts. Attempts to implement Softcuts can be found on commercial devices like Samsung, Microsoft Surface tablets, and on applications like Swipe. While our previous work had investigated which input method is suitable, there are many remaining questions on how to realize the potential of Softcuts, which we would like to focus on in this work. First, we compared the usability of three visual representations through semi-structured interviews. First, we have letter only. Second, we have both letter and name of command. Third, we have both icon and name of command. This is a demonstration of the Notes app prototype equipped with all three designs. Results show that there was a preference for icon plus name, and letter plus name could serve as the next best alternative. Moving on to our second experiment, we studied how discoverability of Softcuts is affected by familiarity and saliency of modifier keys. We used the same Notes app prototype but varied the type of modifier keys used, and also varied the saliency of the modifier keys between keyboard and keyboardless conditions. The only difference between keyboard and keyboardless conditions is in the initial presentation of the prototype. Here we demonstrate when a custom modifier key is used in both conditions. Results showed that discovery rates were high regardless of conditions, and familiarity to hotkey knowledge or usage helps participants to discover Softcuts. Next, in our third experiment, we studied how easily users learn command mappings. The abstract set comprises 16 countries, while the realistic set comprises 16 existing hotkeys from Microsoft Word application. Results show very small difference in performance between the two mappings. Participants were only 5% slower in abstract mapping, but overall 1% more accurate than realistic mapping. The interesting result to note is in terms of retention rate. We observed that many of their incorrect answers are adjacent to the target key. If we combine the correct key with the adjacent keys, we can see from the red dotted line that the rate for abstract mapping increases by 25%. This suggests that while retention for new mapping is not perfect, participants could still estimate the general area where the item was located even after 1 week. And this is good considering that realistic mapping benefits from years of exposure and practice, while abstract mapping was only used for 15 minutes. In our final experiment, we studied the performance difference between grid and keyboard layout. The grid layout is to mimic that used in FastTap. This is a demonstration while using a phone, and this is a demonstration while using a tablet. Results showed that while there was no significant difference in terms of accuracy, the grid layout can be up to 220 milliseconds faster than keyboard layout. Despite that, it is worth noting that the keyboard layout can save 60% of space and offered more spatial stability, which is critical for efficient performance. Thus, the grid layout is overall at a disadvantage because it does not benefit from any standardized mapping, unlike that by Hotkeys for keyboard layout. Overall, the results from our 4 studies show that Softcuts can reliably be used as a unified command selection mechanism, specifically because of the following reasons. Firstly, Softcuts is not only fast and accurate on both phones and tablets, but also requires minimal training for maximum performance. Secondly, the design with icons are helpful for users who are new to hotkeys mapping, while the design with letters can be considered for experts who desire customization. Next, we recommend using familiar labels depending on the OS, command key for iPhones or iPads, and control key for Android or Windows devices. Last but not least, we showed that users not only can learn multiple mappings, but also take advantage of their prior knowledge. All of our 4 studies have only been utilizing one modifier key. It is a feasible direction for future work to expand the input vocabulary of Softcuts by exploring the effects of nesting additional modifier keys like option or function. Another future work is to standardize hotkey mappings comprehensively. While basic commands like cut, copy, and paste have been implemented without discrepancies, there is room for improvement for other more advanced commands. For more detailed descriptions and discussions, please refer to our full paper. Thank you.